Ah, yes, just another beautiful day at the UFC PI located in the middle of nowhere, where our scientists have just finished creating their new freak hybrid athlete known as Yoel Romero, but unfortunately he's not signed to the UFC anymore, so we're going to be needing something very important from him. Yes, you see this correctly, a full 2-scale 1-to-1 muscular and skeletal system from Yoel Romero, because we all know that is the best basis for creating the perfect UFC fighter. So let's bring him to the lab so we can get some serious work done here. Bro, who positioned this guy like this, bro? Hold on, let me fix this. Okay, this is how it really should look to get the basis for our perfect fighter. And I'm going to be starting from the top to bottom here because I guess that makes more sense from a viewer's perspective. So at the top here, we can see we got Jon Jones' head signifying his fight IQ. Because what fighter has a better fight IQ than Jon Jones? I feel like he's the most intelligent fighter we've ever seen. The perfect scenario to prove that was Jon Jones versus DC number 2, is when he rocked DC with the head kick, because he kept going to the body, cracked him upstairs, and then instead of just going for the kill, he kicked his leg out to spin him out, drop him, and finish him there. Instead of just bombarding him with strikes, he was thinking, you know what, let me brutalize this man and make it hell on earth for him. So that's why we're going to be starting off with Jon Jones' fight IQ. And just below his head there, we can see a pair of eyeballs that belong to the notorious Conor McGregor. And you might be thinking, what does McGregor's eyes have to do with this? I'm specifically referring to Conor McGregor's accuracy and eyes, as a lot of fighters call that, from the Eddie Alvarez fight, because he couldn't miss that night. He could have hit anything that came in front of him, and the accuracy was close to perfect. Every shot was landing, and every shot Eddie was throwing, he was just evading, like we're talking fingernail close. But the confidence he had, always watching him, it was a perfect performance, and I gotta credit that to his eyes, not just his fists. Let's go a little down the face. Oh, stop right there. Max Hollway's chin, it's kind of blocked off by a beard. We'll get into that in a second. But the reason obviously I'm choosing Max Hollway's chin is because it's never been cracked, well, until recently at UFC 300, but cracked isn't even the right word, because they actually didn't count it as him being dropped against Justin Gaethje, even though he went on the Rogan podcast and said that it should have counted as a knockdown, but the UFC stat guys didn't see it that way. Even he admitted to it, but he never really got cracked. He got dropped and then immediately popped back up. You know, that happens when you're off balance, and that happens when you're fighting a monster like Justin, where it's so much power that you're just going to get knocked to the floor. No big deal. Not once was he rocked, not once was he wobbly. So for the perfect chin, for the perfect fighter, I'm going to have to go with my boy, Max Hollway. And now, the beard. You're probably thinking, why the hell is there a beard on Max Hollway? This is actually taken directly from Khabib Nurmagomedov, not just because he has a great beard, but it's supposed to signify Khabib's wrestling. If you could choose one UFC fighter's wrestling who was the most dominant, you got to choose Khabib. Maybe you could swap it out today with Islam because he's retired, but if you had a strict wrestling match, I think Khabib would still dominate him, so we're going to have to leave it at that. So, head aside, we're going to have to go to the neck and traps, which, again, we're going to have to just take from Yoel Romero. Thank God we had spare parts, because he took so many head kicks. I'm thinking specifically that one from Paulo Costa, where he got blasted in the head, and somehow he stayed alive. And the only evidence that can prove why he stayed up, to me, is that thick tree trunk neck he has connected to those traps. I've never seen something like that. Maybe you could say Brock Lesnar too, but Brock Lesnar, well, we don't need to get into why his neck and traps are so big, likely wise. A little lower than that, let's go to the left side, the whole arm, because I don't want to talk about shoulders and biceps, all that stuff. I'm going to signify the whole arm belonging to Alex Pereira, and you can probably guess why, of course, because that deadly nuclear weapon left hand. I mean, that's pretty obvious why I'd have to give it to him, and because the left hand's connected to the arm, let's just give him the whole arm, because the whole thing's terrifying. So that's valid. He's valid. And let's move over to the right side, where the arm may be a little smaller, but don't be deceived, because I'm going to give that to Sean O'Malley, just courtesy of his right hand, because he snipes guys with that. And I don't want any comments saying, oh, well, Sean O'Malley's only 135 pounds, so how could you make the... No, this fighter we're making here is void of weight. He is beyond weight. You can think of any weight in your head, and that's what this fighter is. He's not the arm of an 135-pound guy, versus his counterpart, a light heavyweight arm, just think of it in terms of no weight. The accuracy, the power, the sharpness of Sean O'Malley's right hand. I got to give him that respect. We glaze right over the middle, which doesn't really make sense, and I'm sure a lot of you already recognize the tattoo, but we're going to have to give this whole chest and specifically lungs to Merab Dvalishvili, because he has the best cardio in the UFC, and I don't think there's any guys who, well, there's some guys who come close, but I haven't seen a machine like Merab do it so efficiently, even after getting hurt, because I don't know if you guys remember when he fought Henry Cejudo, he got cracked in that first round. And having good cardio is a good sign of being able to take shots and weather the storm. And I just don't see a gas tank like Merab's. Some guys close to, maybe you could argue things like Colby, but as he's gotten a little older, it feels like it's slowed down, and I'm sure you've noticed that. So as of right now, you got to give it to Merab, because that dude's unstoppable. And a little lower than that, we're going to stop right here at the abdominal area. And this one doesn't really make any sense from a viewer point, but I'm going to explain it. I got to give it to Charles Oliveira, just in significance for his grappling. Now, I didn't want to just put black belt on him, because think of how many countless fighters have black belts, right? So I had to take the abdominals from him, just because I think he is the most dominant grappler in the UFC. Although there's been a couple of fights recently that may not have shown that, and him getting subbed by Islam isn't the best look. I just feel like he still has the most effective jiu-jitsu, which Luke Rockhold actually disagrees with, because he thinks he did, but I think he's delusional for saying that, and it doesn't matter. I have to give it to Charles Oliveira, regardless of the Islam fight and even the Arman fight, where I actually thought he had got him at the end of the fight, but somehow Arman didn't go out, so that's pretty magical. But top half aside, I think that's pretty valid. If you disagree or agree with me, you can let me know in the comments. But now we're going to be going to the lower half, and these shorts are unnamed. I don't know what the name of this guy's going to be. Whoever has the best name, put it in the comments. I'll pin it. Whoever has the best name for this guy, it'll be pinned. But let's go look at the left leg. Left leg is going to be belonging to the one and only Leon Edwards. Obvious reasons. I don't think I need to get into that. Not even just the Usman KO, but he's used that weapon a lot in other fights where it's been really sharp, really accurate and powerful. Even when dudes block it, you know you can feel it. And I just think that from the southpaw stance, that kick is the best left high kick I have seen, regardless of the Usman KO. Going to the right leg, you got to give it to Michael Chandler. Why Michael Chandler? You're thinking, was it that front kick that he dropped Tony in the face with? I think that was his right leg, but that's actually not why I'm giving it to him. I'm giving it to him because of the pure power in that leg. Let's go back to the Michael Chandler Dustin Poirier fight, where Dustin Poirier was on top of him. His legs are spread out where his left leg is flat, and he literally pistol squats Dustin Poirier to pick him up. I mean, imagine picking up a grown man with one leg, using one leg. Can you even do that yourself? Can you even do a pistol squat by yourself? Most people can't. I can't. I wish I could. It looks cool, but imagine doing that with a grown damn man on top of you, who probably fight night weighs about 160, maybe 170. That's nuts. It's so powerful. So because of that, gotta give it to my boy Michael Chandler. And I don't need to get into the calves, because why are we talking about calves? And now I have a little bit of a tiebreaker for the feet here. I have it between Usman or John Jones again, because Usman is really one of the only guys where he actually uses foot stomps, which, believe it or not, are actually pretty effective, because you stomp on somebody's toes, no matter how much adrenaline you have, you're going to feel that. Even Mike Tyson admitted that he said that I wouldn't want to fight in MMA even in his prime, because he has sensitive feet. And he said, if someone stomped on my feet, it would really mess me up. So if someone like Mike is saying that, imagine how effective it is for people to actually do it. But the thing is, people clowned on Usman for doing it because, you know, it seems silly. It looks silly for sure. But, you know, when you're holding a guy up against the cage and you're stomping on his toes, you're definitely doing damage. You're scoring points and you're kind of messing with your opponent. Imagine you getting your foot stomped on by a grown man. You'd be thinking, man, I want to mess this dude up, right? And I said it was a tiebreaker because I either had it as Usman or John Jones, because throwback to when John Jones fought Chael Sonnen and broke his big toe. I think, was it the big toe? I gotta look that up. Fact check me if I'm wrong. He broke a toe I think it was the big toe. But that kind of ties back to his mental resilience. I know I didn't say that. I said fight IQ. So that's the reason I didn't just give it to him. You could argue, well, maybe he has weak toes because the thing snapped while he was applying pressure. But I think it's kind of impressive. Most people would break something like that and the fight would be over. He didn't even notice it until it was over from the adrenaline. But again, I would tie that back to the IQ. What do you think? What do you think about this fighter? What should he be named? What do you think his stats would be? I would give him a 99 overall. Where do you think I went wrong, or where do you think I went right? To me, this is the perfect UFC fighter, but I'd love to hear your opinions. Let me know in the comments down below. Please subscribe for some good MMA content, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.